Whenever we post an Audemars Piguet Royal Oak, it creates a lot of buzz. We get a lot of questions, a lot of comments, a lot of feedback on them, but maybe not any more than when we post the 15400 ST. We'll go over why. Whenever we post fresh Audemars Piguet Royal Oak, it creates a lot of buzz. And one of the ones that, when we post it, it really gets a lot of attention is the 15400 ST. Now, this one is a regular Royal Oak, not a Royal Oak offshore. So it's not super thick. It's only 9.8 millimeters thick. But it's a really good size. It came out in 2012. At a 41 millimeter diameter. That's the case diameter, but it really wears a lot bigger than that. It probably wears more like a 44 millimeter watch. When you put it on, the diameter of the case dimension is a little bit dwarfed by the overall dimension of the watch. And the reason I say that is that the bracelet is essentially rigid from about here to here. This is where I can start feeling it, where it'll have some give. So if you look at this dimension from here to here, that's quite large. And it still looks great on just about anyone. It's not too large of a watch. The fact that it's not an offshore, it's only 9.8 millimeters thick, means that it'll rest on the wrist nicely. It'll fit under a shirt sleeve. And so for a lot of people, this is the right combination because it's a larger diameter than the so-called jumbo, which is only 39 millimeters. This one at 41 is just a great modern size. Now we'll go over a few things of what makes this watch special. It's really interesting. It's a great design. Of course, this goes back to the Gerald Genta design from 1972. But this one came out in 2012 at this dimension. And it features a lot of the things that you've come to expect from the entire Royal Oak line. Of course, you've got the porthole bezel with the screws showing through. Now on this one, this is a brushed steel case and bracelet, but the screws are 18 karat white gold. So it gives a nice contrast to the steel. When you look at the dial, of course, this is the classic Grand Tapisserie design dial, the waffle design dial. And it gives an interesting look to the watch. Hopefully it's showing up in the lights. This dial is considered black, but when you look at the way it looks overall, because of the waffle design and the dial, the pattern, it almost looks like a dark gray because you get a lot of reflections of white in the dial itself. Same thing on this one. This one's called white, but it's really more silver. And when you look at it, it just has so much interesting depth to it, because of the way the waffle pattern is cut into it. And those dials, they're still cut the old way. They use a pantograph machine. It's a really old machine, I think from the 19th century, that they used to hand cut those. So it's still done the old-fashioned way. The markers are 18 karat white gold, and so are the hands. The hands, in fact, are called Royal Oak hands because they're so distinctive to this watch. When you look at the bezel, you have the perfect combination of brushed on the top and high polish around the edges. And it just makes this great geometric shape that you've all come to know and love with this watch. And you do see a little bit of the gasket between the bezel and the case. It's not as thick or pronounced as it is in the Royal Oak offshore, but it's still there. It's a nice design element, and that's original to the Gerald Genta design. The case, of course, is real flat. But what you see, and this is just such a great hallmark of the hand finishing you get with this watch series, this beveled edge that goes right into the downward slope at the lugs and then right down the bracelet with each of these tapered links. Now the bracelet is just fabulous the way it's made with the high polish bevel on the edges. When you move the bracelet and look at it, there's a lot to see because there are a lot of different flat surfaces that catch the light. And also between each bracelet link, it's high polish, even though it's satin on the top. So there's just a lot to see there. The clasp is definitely heavy duty, as you would expect from such a watch. Of course, you always close the non-logo side first, and then the side with the AP logo. It does have a double button here for security. And it has the exhibition case back so that you can see the movement. Of course, just like any AP movement, it's beautifully decorated, and it's got a gold rotor. It's a high power reserve movement. One thing I want to mention about this one that's different from the Jumbo does not have a screw down crown, even though it's rated as water resistant to 50 meters. This one has a screw down crown in the 15400 ST, which makes it a true 50 meter water resistant. You could actually swim in this one and feel secure in that. The overall look and feel of it, I just think is one of the best watches that AP really has ever made. You've got a very interesting looking dial, even though there's not a lot of complications. There is the sweeping second hand, which there's a hack function for, the hours and minutes, and then of course the date in a very small aperture at 3 o'clock. But it's just a pleasure to wear. It feels great on because of the way the bracelet curves with the wrist. It's designed so that it doesn't grab any skin or hair as you're wearing it, so it's very comfortable. And of course, this is going to always stand out. If you're ever in a crowd of watch guys, everybody knows and loves this design, and definitely a watch that has performed very well on the secondary market as far as just an investment goes, that it's done very well in the past and doesn't show any sign of slacking off. So I'm making the case that the 15400 ST really is the best AP. It has everything going for it and really no downside at all. Tell us what you think in the comments. Click the button to like and subscribe. Give us a call at the store. See which one of these we still have available. We'll be happy to ship it right out to you.